There are so many mistakes that either new investors or experienced investors still make to this day. Let's roll that intro video and hop right in. Hello everyone. So today we are going to talk about some of the biggest mistakes that either new investors make or even some experienced investors make. We're all prone to mistakes at points in our career, but the point is to evolve and to grow, to learn from your mistakes and hopefully never make them again. So let's hop right into it and talk about 7 mistakes to avoid as an investor. So number 1, big mistake, over improving your rental. Doesn't matter if you have an apartment complex, doesn't matter if you have a townhome, a single family home, duplex, whatever it is, over improving for your area can be detrimental to how much money you can make. Whether you have a rental or even if you're just flipping a house, over improving is very easy to do if you're not careful. If you don't have a good solid budget in place, a good solid plan, if you don't know the area, if you don't know the demographics of your area, it could be very easy to over improve. You'll spend more money than you really need to. You can't increase the rent. You can't validate the fact that you spent so much more money on that rental or that flip. Something that kind of goes with it is, like I said, you won't get your money back out of it. So if you over improve a house or something by $20,000, you can't just up the price of the rent just because you want to make your money back. That's just not how it works, unfortunately. Another mistake that I see is not having the right expectations in an area that you buy in. Y'all know what I'm gonna say. Location is so important in real estate. We have a huge saying, and you've heard me say it: location, location, location. Location is so huge. It determines factors like how much rent you can charge, how much you can sell your house for if you're trying to renovate and flip. It determines the demographics, the quality of tenants that you can have. Location is huge when it comes to real estate. So not understanding the area that you're buying in can be very costly if you are not careful. So one thing that most of us know, and if you don't know, then here's this really good piece of information for you. If you can find a house, especially if you're going to get a rental, and you can get it close to schools, hospitals, major highways, interstates, or roads, that is going to be far better than getting a house way out in the country somewhere where there's no schools. The nearest store is 5 miles away. More times than not, people like to be where it's quick, it's convenient, easy access to a lot of things. So plan to buy something that's in a good area, surrounded by a lot of good amenities. Another huge mistake I see investors make, and this one I've made myself being a new investor several years ago. I still sometimes struggle with this because you just sometimes get caught up in it, but it's not having a budget. Whether you're flipping, renovating, or flipping, renovating, and holding, whether you currently have a couple of units, you just had tenants move out and need to kind of do a make ready, paint, whatnot. If you don't go into it having a budget, not knowing how much you can spend, you'll literally just be swiping your card, spending money, not knowing how much you're spending, and that's an easy way to lose money. And it goes both ways, whether you under budget or over budget. If you severely under budget and you could have spent a little bit more money and you could have justified maybe an extra couple $100s in rent, well, that's just as bad as overspending or not having a good cap and saying, okay, I'm not going to spend more than this, because you're still losing money either way, whether you're just giving it away or you're leaving money on the table that you could have gotten from rent. You want to try to have the best balance of spending money versus how much rent or how much you can sell that house for, depending on what your strategy is. But having a budget is so key. Okay, so mistake number 4 that I see investors make a lot, and that is just simply not having enough cash on hand. So I did a short not too long ago talking about how cash is still king in real estate, and I'll put a card up in the top corner for you so you can see that. But cash is still king in real estate. Cash gives you the ability to do so many things. But when we're talking about real estate and rental properties, things like that, investments, flips, having cash to be able to quickly access to, maybe there's an emergency that comes up, maybe you have an insurance claim and you need some quick cash. Whatever the case is, having some good cash on hand is huge. Not having it and purely relying on just month to month rent coming in, or one-time sale or something, that is not smart. Okay, so mistake number 5 is actually more common than most people really think, but it's buying an investment property that's actually not worth buying. So let me clarify and tell y'all exactly what I mean. So let's say you buy a property for, X amount of dollars, and you need to make, a certain amount. Let's say you need to make, $1,500 to break even. But because of your mortgage, because of some certain expenses, because maybe you paid too much for it, you can only get $1,500 in rent. But now let's say your expenses are $1,600. Well, you're losing money every month. So you have to go into it and you have to understand everything about the property you're buying before you buy it. When you buy an investment property, there's two main things you want. If you're buying a flip to just sell, you want it to have equity. You want it to be worth more than you actually put into it. If you're buying a rental, well, you want to have positive cash flow and gain equity at the same time, and it appreciates as well. Those are kind of the main things you want. If you don't have either one of those in a property you're buying, stay away from it. So you really, really, really want to buy a property that helps you and not hurts you. If you all are looking to get an investment property, I'm going to put a link down below to a video that I did that talks about how to buy your very first investment property, or just for those who maybe want to learn more about how to buy an investment property. Maybe you have a couple, but you think there's some better strategies. Check that video out. So mistake number 6 is kind of common. I've seen this and I don't understand why I see this. This is not a hard thing to do, but it's not having the right comps. When you go to buy a house and you don't run comps to see what things are worth in that area, you can kind of see how a lot of these mistakes are kind of tied in together, how one mistake can lead to another. But if you don't run the comps on a property you're trying to buy or invest in, you'll just be shooting in the dark. You're just going to say, yep, I'll buy it for that, not knowing what it's worth. If you don't run comps even on rental to see what rental rates are going in your area, you can go into it with a really high expectation thinking, I'm gonna make $2,000 a month, but nothing in that area, especially if everything in that area is very similar, nothing in that area rents that high. Well, you're shooting yourself in the foot and you're not doing proper due diligence. So you don't want to lose money, and you also don't want to leave money on the table. If you don't do your comps on a house that you're selling and you sell it for $60,000, $70,000 less than what you could have sold it for, well, you don't want to leave money just sitting out there when you could have made it. So run the comps. If you need a good agent that, has access to some tools, get with a good agent. They can run CMAs for you, which are comparative market analysis. It'll tell you, kind of give you a good idea of what an appraiser is gonna think of that property, but get comps. Just know what your house is worth. All right, so the final tip, this tip is gonna be more geared towards those flippers and investors that are going to like the auctions and stuff. It's still a very, very good tip. I understand not everyone's gonna be and have the stomach for flipping, buying at foreclosures, because sometimes you just really don't know what you're getting. But if you do, here's a perfect tip for you. Don't let another bidder overpressure you into bidding more than you know the house is worth. Please do not let someone pressure you into spending more. If you know a house is worth $150 and you'll never get more out of it than that, don't spend more than that. If you get lucky and that house has been appraised, why would you spend more on a house that has been appraised at a certain amount? There's no point in doing that to try to just beat someone, to beat the other person at the auction. Let them take it. If someone else wants to overpay, let them overpay, but don't you overpay. It can be very easy to let our pride kick in and you kind of get the feelings going and emotions going. I've been there. It's very easy to get caught up. You kind of sometimes just want to keep going, but have a hard stop. You just say, okay, I'm not going to pay more than $100,000 for this property. It's just not worth it. If you get to that $100,000 and someone bids over, just let it go. Don't feel bad. Move on to the next one. So everyone, thank you for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed these tips. Please like and subscribe to the channel. If you have any comments or any questions, please put them down below. I'm always interested to hear what everyone has to say. And if you want to learn more about how to invest in your first investment property, click right here.